Hello and welcome to a new edition of Frontline Conversation. We have with us today Mr. Arun Krishnamurthy, a psephologist and political analyst who has closely tracked Tamil Nadu's social and political landscape for over 15 years. In the latest issue of Frontline, which focuses on the upcoming elections across several states and the Union Territory of Puducherry, he analyzes the prospects and challenges of the leading political parties in Tamil Nadu, as well as the role of emerging disruptors. I am also joined by Mr. Elangovan Rajashekharan, Frontline's associate editor, who brings nearly 4 decades of experience reporting on Tamil Nadu. Arun, let me start with you. You argue in your article that this election could be defined by gender and Gen Z. Are we really looking at a shift beyond the traditional Dravidian binary?
This election is interesting because usually Tamil Nadu's women vote is all what people focus on. And the first time voters are always considered, and as to where the first time voters would go, are they going to go to the DMK or the AIADMK, or are they going to go behind Seeman or Mr. Annamalai's BJP in the 2024 elections and more. But now we have a bigger force that is drawing all their attention, which is of course Vijay and TVK. So, and Vijay and TVK is not stopping with the youth, is also making inroads into the women voter base, is something which is visible out in the field. How this interest from women and the Gen Z is going to translate into votes favoring TVK and Vijay is the final question. Nobody is in doubt that the women voter and the young voter are enthused, are energized by the arrival of TVK. That nobody is denying. Whether this enthusiasm would translate into a vote is the question that we are waiting for an answer.
Arun, you also suggest that women voters now need an emotional connection beyond welfare. What evidence from the ground supports this shift?
When Ms. Jayalalithaa and her government rolled out several of these social welfare schemes, they still had one other reason to believe and bank on the AIADMK, which was Ms. Jayalalithaa herself. Yes, Tamil Nadu's politics in large landscapes has been about this one identity, the leader identity. And Ms. Jayalalithaa was capable of swaying this women vote in her favor, cutting across religions and caste lines, because she was able to connect with the voter in personal cases, right? And they felt much safer. And that's how they've always been, right? And this evidence that we're talking about, even when there's a rout for the AIADMK, there have been trends which have shown that the women have not completely abandoned the AIADMK. The fact that 2006, 2011, 2016, all these election data in more ways than one also point to one thing, that she has been holding on to select seats where the women voter has outnumbered the male voter in considerable numbers, and the turnout and the women voter in favor of ADMK has been visible from these past data. Post her demise, the women voter almost feels orphaned and didn't have a leader who they could depend solely or rest their hopes on. The AIADMK was not looking to be that force anymore. Rajnikant's announcement comes in place, and they're able to, his spirituality, his on-screen presence, his charm in terms as a family-oriented star on screen, all this checks multiple boxes, and there was an excitement amongst the women voter. But Mr. Rajnikant's foray never happened, and thereafter 2021 elections, we see the DMK's completely women-centric approach, from the bus to the 1,000 rupees to all these announcements, give them that confidence that yes, maybe this time the DMK in 2021. Yes, and what if you are somebody who's been following Tamil Nadu politics as a viewer, they'll also be able to relate to this. The DMK has always been positioned as a male-dominated party, a party which is associated with probably more aggressive politics compared to a subtle AIADMK politics on field. This is the kind of narratives that have been set for the DMK. So to break all that and to establish MK Stalin as a leader who, and in the later days also projecting him as the father figure and more, all this we see as their ways and means to attract and hold on to the women voter. So the women vote has sought emotional support, not just announcements, and they've been a dependent voter. And when they become that dependent voter, they've also been a dependable voter for the political system.
Has the DMK's welfare model, especially schemes like Kalangir Magalir Urimai Thittam, reached a point of diminishing political returns?
It also depends on who's rolling out what policies. See, innately, am I a DMK voter? Is the question that should be asked. And then, if I were not a DMK voter and I still chose to vote the DMK because of the promises they made, uh, do I want to stick to them again? Have I become a loyal DMK voter? This is what we are studying amongst the women voters now. See, they were not in mass a DMK vote bank, but they did shift. And are they now remaining and are they now becoming the loyal DMK vote bank? Maybe not. Simple reason being they have options now. Yes, and when one of the option is a on-screen idol over the last 2 decades who's foraying into politics, who's a young politician, who they're able to associate themselves with, they don't mind providing going with an alternative is what we are sensing.
And you also mentioned in your article that there is dissatisfaction among women excluded from some of these schemes. Could this become a decisive anti-incumbency factor, or is it still marginal?
See how the DMK government is being perceived. One, it's not a non-performer. This government has performed. Has the government performed 100 on 100? Definitely no is the public opinion. Is there an anger against the government? Maybe not. Is there an overwhelming support in favor of the government? Maybe not. That is where Tamil Nadu stands. When that comes, there have been some of these announcements which have not seen the light of day, right? And there have been some promises which they couldn't keep up to. And when it comes to the 1,000 rupee rollout, it's not reached. The argument that voters come to us with is, when you declared in your manifesto, you said women would be given 1,000 rupees. You never classified into who, what category, nothing. Later, all that comes into play. So when I was ready to vote for you, the announcement was that all women would be given 1,000 rupees. So those who've applied, who've been denied, definitely feel let down. And when they feel let down, this is where I earlier also mentioned, they're not organic DMK voters. They believed, trusted in a promise, and they switch sides. And now they don't see a reason why they should remain on that side, and they have options. So definitely there is certain degree of dissatisfaction when it comes to women who've been left out of some of these programs. With regards to the bus travel, these could be common narratives that, like, any voter would, how is the government, if that's a question you ask, almost every individual citizen is gonna have some complaint or the other against the government, no denying that. But in this case also, are you satisfied with the free bus? Yes, and then they're like, oh, maybe a little bit more respectful approach to how they treat us because we don't pay for the ticket. So these are still complaints that can be brushed aside. But on the larger side, when you look at it, have all the promises been kept? So if all the promises have not been kept, why don't I look beyond you? Now the only advantage that you still provide is the stability and continuity in governance. That's one reason why I can come back to you. But beyond that, what excites me about either DMK or the ADMK is what the voter is looking for, given that there's a new player in field.
Arun, on your point about this Kalangir Magalir Urimai Thittam, which is the rights scheme. It is not a freebie or something else. Actually, what you said is correct. Actually, that as per the election manifesto, the DMK has told the people that women will be distributed with the welfare scheme. But since we are going into the dynamics of the statistics after the SIR and all those things, we see them around 10 lakh women voters outnumber men. Okay. And this scheme, particularly this Urimai Thittam scheme, as per your ground level assessment, is not totally covering everyone. Okay, there is one particular section which finds it's very dejected. because they were left out. Okay. But if we go into the details, since devil is in the details, if we go into that, the ration cards, that is AAY scheme and PHHS scheme, both have a combined strength of 1.6 crores. Our voters number is around 3 crores. Whereas we have a 5.75 as a total electorate. So nearly 50% are benefited. As you said, many of them were left out. Some of them were left out. I think it must be there are two differences. Ration card, one is for rice card, another is for sugar card, which you and I, we are all having. That is economically we have. But when we are zeroing in on the benefit of the particular scheme, how it covers everyone, whether it covers everyone or not. Here there is some kind of doubt for me. You should please clarify. As I said, suppose around 76% of the marginalized, that is those who got rice parts, who have their and the scheme is covered by the pre-rice scheme, are being given 1,000 rupees. Then over a period of time, in the last year, what the government did, it included other beneficiaries. The beneficiaries who have not been covered earlier by the earlier scheme, that is OAP, that is old age pension, widow pension, disability pension, and destitute pension. All these people are getting 1,000 rupees per month, through social welfare department. They have also been significantly included into the scheme. That means of 2.75 crore of women voters, around 60% are benefited directly from one scheme or the things. The second, the bus, free bus, zero ticket. Yeah, am I correct? Zero ticket scheme. Tamil Nadu Planning Commission, as per its analysis, they say around 68%, something like that. Each woman, as all they are working, marginalized and just above marginalized, going for a construction work, agriculture work, or a nearby town, around a monthly income saving of 888, something like that, they say. Suppose if a 12,000 per year, this another 1,000 means 12,000, another 1,000 from that means here quite a good sum. That sum welfare scheme, that sum covers around 60 to 70% of women. Now we come to the point. This small fraction, a group of disenchantment, disenchantment from a group of people, whether it will make a specific impact on the total women's electorate in Tamil Nadu in the ensuing elections. See, there is I need a small clarity, that's right. Simple upon that.
That's where I stressed upon, is there an overwhelming anger or overwhelming support in favor of the government? Neither exists.
Yes.
They're still waiting to watch how all political systems in the state are going to take on this election, right? Have they written off the DMK already? That's not what we're saying. Are they ready to support the DMK already? That also they're being cautious. Yes. And definitely, yes, schemes which have reached people, there is ranging from the free breakfast to much more, is widely being spoken about. But then comes another option. We've already given you a term, 5 years. We are a state, especially when you see from 91 to 2011, we are a state who have been relentlessly punishing incumbents, and we've brought in the opposition. Yes, only in 2006 it was a minority government, but there also we went ahead with a said alliance, right? So is Tamil Nadu in that mood right now? Okay, we've seen you for 5 years. Do we have to change? That's a question we're waiting for an answer to assess the field, because still candidates and constituencies are not clear. That is where I think pro-incumbency versus anti-incumbency sets in play, because Tamil Nadu, is it going to look for stability, continuity, or is Tamil Nadu going to go anti-incumbent and then bring in the principal opposition or go with the third player. 60% of the women population, 50%, whatever is the number, they've been covered under schemes. Are they happy? They're satisfied? Now, continued promises from every establishment is now I'll top it with 2,000, 2,500. All that they're sure is going to come in one way or the other. Now, when everybody is giving similar promises, that is where what is going to tilt the balance in favor of any leader or party.
Okay, sorry, Palani. Why should not they allow the party to continue? When you ensure stability, when you ensure welfareism, when there is no specific overwhelming anti-incumbency, when there is no specific except law and order, that's what opposition parties claim. But most of them are claim instead of law and order, there is a confusion between crime and law and order. Crimes are different, law and order. Anyhow, why should not these elect voters in a confused state? As an overall picture from your study, I could see that the electors are still undecided. Something is playing, isn't it?
They're playing the cards very close to their chest.
Yeah, that's it. They are keeping quiet. Tamil Nadu electorate always they keep quiet because except two occasions. One is on 91 Rajiv Gandhi assassination. Another is on 96 Jayalalithaa Suicide.
2011.
11 it is just a kind of alternating.
There was a visible anger.
And because 2000 is not a very good governance because you have that land grabs deals and all those things. But now, as such today, because I wanted to get it clarified from your field study, why should voters be reluctant to give another mandate to the existing dispensation?
This is something which we are seeing pan-India. How we've always had an anti-incumbency motion in play. There's also a pro-incumbency motion in play where there's a weak opposition, right? Tamil Nadu, will it behave any differently is something which we have to wait for.
Yeah.
And when the voter has an option, right? And when election is an exciting factor, when you're provided with the option, the excitement is like, why should I gave you an opportunity? And sir, another thing for us to watch is 2019, 21, 22 local body, 24 Lok Sabha, series of elections, there's been an overwhelming support in favor of DMK and its alliance. So there could also be a voter fatigue if there is. That's what we're saying. So we're not saying which side people are going to go. Neither are we calling the elections here. All that we are analyzing is voter fatigue a reality, right? Second, anti-incumbency versus pro-incumbency vote. Third, opposition and its role in establishing themselves as a principal alternative, like as an exciting primary alternative. The third or the fourth disruptors, their ability to win, not just be destabilizers. These are factors which are dominating Tamil Nadu elections in 2026.
In this point, actually, I differ with that word disruptor because I can say only spoiler.
Okay.
As such today, disruptor is as a different term. Actually, since so far we have no alternative from this Dravidian binary. That's what you have come to a conclusion. This time there is an alternative available. This alternative, though it is untested, as per your field experience and your report, there is a kind of buoyancy among the voters about this new entrant. Leave alone Mr. Seeman, who has been there for a time. Oh, okay. Whether this particular alternative option led by, we can say, TVK, Vijay TVK, if we want to vote on stability or continuity or the trustworthiness, is voters, when they are concerned with the DMK and AIADMK, why not they apply the same principle here to a new entrant who is very raw, yet to be evolved into a leadership quality. Okay, it's all right, no problem, because there is one party, AIADMK, which broke away from DMK in 1970. But that is different. MGR was politically schooled, so he has been known to everyone. And this man suddenly came into the picture. What is his any alternative? At many times, even in the past elections, became an option for a binary, the Dravidian parties. But what is the why should people endorse this new man? What kind of or peak disenchantment these people are having against the present dispensation or the opposition?
When you ask the same question to public, on what basis would you want to support TVK or Vijay? Simple answer is, why not? Let's go with the third new player. We've tested both DMK and ADMK. We've been with them long enough. So why not is the question they pose back at us. And from that, what we also understand is that there's always been a space, a third space for any other front. And we've seen that vote, 15 to 22% vote, which could always move towards the third player, third front, and how they're able to consolidate it. In Vijay's case, what's happening is the voters who've grown up watching Vijay on screen, they're able to relate more to Vijay than the current chief minister and the opposition leader. Right? Their age is in such that they've idolized Vijay on screen. They've seen Vijay. They're able to emotionally. We're not saying 100 on 100 every youth or 100 on 100 every woman. We're only stating that there is an excitement. Is that excitement turning into acceptance so that it translates into vote? That is yet to be watched. But nobody can deny that there is an excitement. He is the central subject around which they want to speak politics in elections of 2026. Reason? They watched him on screen. And
Do you find this excitement across the society or in a particular sections?
Age-wise, yes.
Age 18, first time voters.
18 to 30, 35.
18 30, that means 18 age group 1.25 new voters. That is the new voters, first time voters. 25 to 30 or 18 to 30, we can keep that. That means nearly 70 lakhs. Okay.
Number, yeah, okay.
This 70 lakhs is totally intact behind this.
No, that's what I said. We are not saying 100 on 100 everybody is.
Okay.
All that we are saying is
This excitement. How
Yeah.
do you measure this excitement?
See, that's exactly why we are all still being cautious. Nobody is calling this election in favor of anybody yet, for the simple reason that there is no scientific data to back that what kind of numbers we would finally arrive at. Because the electorate and the voter is going to assess candidate, party, alliance, issues based on caste, religion, delivery, continuity, on so many factors, right? Who's able to make a stronger pitch? Who's able to draw their attention? And who's able to hold on to their attention? All this is what matters. And before entering that phase, we are looking at, okay, what is in favor of DMK? Okay, we can claim that they've delivered so many, there's still so many undelivered promises, but they might deliver. What is in favor of ADMK? The alliance is in favor of ADMK, and the fact that the ADMK has been in power in the past, so tested model, they would still want to go back to. What is in favor of Vijay? Vijay is the only factor which is favor on TVK because he's a star value potential who is capable of bringing in the crowd, and if that crowd is going to become the vote. What is in favor of NTK? Their stability in contesting elections without going into an alliance and based on an ideology.
That's only one question, one clarification. From our studies, we are concentrating this side DMK, on this side TVK. What happened to AIADMK? Why should not we give that kind of importance to the AIADMK in general narrative?
We are giving importance to everybody.
Yes. This is the discussion is on us number. We are now discussing. We are concentrating more on the DMK's connectivity or something else, because women are youth. And this time we have this Vijay's TVK. But the narrative generally, not only among us, but generally in all the social media and all those things, it is DMK versus TMK as Vijay sets the narrative. Is it really
No,
true there?
not at all.
What had happened to the ADMK? Where are they?
We've never written of ADMK or NDA. Yes,
Okay.
the NDA, ADMK, BJP, AMMK, PMK, the kind of force that they are to reckon with. Even in this article, we've very clearly mentioned how in 136 specific constituencies, this is an alliance which would make all the necessary impact. How they're going to cross the finish line in these seats or even more is to be watched. Alliance arithmetic this time is in favor of NDA because vote transfer from constituent parties towards the primary party, which is ADMK, looks healthy. Is the two leaves voter ready to accept the other constituent members and vote in their favor is to be watched. Whereas on the DMK side, it's the DMK that's shouldering the responsibility of all parties, right? And whether they are going to be able to transfer their votes, because many of DMK's alliance partners are facing a vote erosion because of Vijay. The socio-economic and caste and religious lines classified voters who usually tend to vote to these parties may shift to Vijay is what we are sensing. If that happens, it's the DMK and its symbol and its established grassroots which has to do the heavy lifting for the alliance. Whereas in the NDA, they all are adding value. Is the two-leaf voter going to be loyal to the constituent members of the NDA is the larger question. So this is where vote transferability, individual candidate and alliance arithmetic working on ground within parties for the voter matters this election.
You find out that the caste dynamics everywhere, North 1 year dominated plus versus Dalits and South Mukulathur dominated versus other caste people in central Tamil Nadu, Kongu region, naturally Kongu Vellalas are there. But do you find this time this erosion from the established vote banks or dispensations like AIADMK and the DMK, we go to the third alternative?
In rural seats, it might still be challenging, difficult, because in the rural seat, the candidate and his or her identity, which I can associate with, matters more to the voter. Whereas in an urban seat, caste or religion may not be the reason why I go with a particular dispensation, right?
Yeah.
So in rural seats, TVK's penetration and the ability to draw more voters from all sides will be a tad bit more challenging compared to urban seats.
But this you can compare with Vijaykanth also. As long when Vijaykanth was there, almost 20% of Dalit youths and other caste people, they just migrated into his fold. But again, I am telling you, there is a vast gap between the principal two major runners versus the third alternative. Tamil Nadu has seen that around 30%. Vijay himself says that in a Vellore conference, he says that he said that he could muster 30% of vote. But 30%, whether it is 13% or 30%, without an alliance, will not translate into a win. Will it? Will it be so? Because DMK and the ADMK, they share around 70% with their alliance parties. What is the big excitement we are going to have with a third alternative? Another is going to be like Seeman or Vijaykanth, like a spoiler. Are we being fed on the kind of his celluloid image, or are we being excited or being taken by this kind of his fans? I can use the word quote delirious responses.
I'm not able to comment on that. My only point here is he is getting the due attention from the voter.
Yeah.
Whether that attention is being translated into action in favor of him is to be watched, right? Because here what I sense and feel is we are still at least a week or 10 days away from how the mood's finally gonna set in, right? If we are calling this election already in mid or end March, it will be too premature. Yes.
Yes.
Given the fact that only now we're inching closer towards, it's also a very last minute election in more ways than one, where alliance parties, who's going to contest where and which candidate, all that matters is what we are drawing a conclusion on. So we're neither calling this election in favor of anybody yet, nor are we saying that this is how it might move. We're being cautious, we're going to wait and watch. And the only lesson to take from this is it's no longer a binary, it's no longer a contest just between the primary two. The third player, as to what degree of their vote gain and from where, and are they going to win or are they going to just spoil the chances of, is Vijay's TVK a glorified Makkal Nala Kootani,
Yes.
or is Vijay's TVK the third alternative? That is a question that will firmly get answered in 2026.
Arun, you argue that in your article that Vijay has diluted his own momentum. Is this a failure of political strategy or simply the growing pains of a new entrant?
It's a combination of both. One, politics as a field of play needs extensive public contact, right? And repeat touch upon ideology, issues, and how you're going to be the alternative is what people look up to, right? Maybe after Karur, there has been a very sharp decline in expectations also, right? To see expectations from who also matters. When Vijay comes into politics and after Vikramandi, expectations reach sky high amongst the voters of Tamil Nadu. Suddenly you're thinking, like, and we are a state who's had a history, like where Mr. MGR is out on the streets, where people are thronging and then people are trying to reach him. Vijay, we've seen Vijay we've seen Jayalalithaa, so we've seen all of this. So there we're immediately positioning Vijay into those shoes, and we are anticipating that Vijay would also be in every nook and corner, starting from Gumri Punti to Killiyur. There is an excitement. When that doesn't get met, it is faced with a certain doubt and a question which follows. Are you going to be able to resolve my issues once you come to power? Right? This is a question that's widespread there. And then the silence, the prolonged silence on any issue for that matter. Public connect and contact doesn't, in a tech age, doesn't just have to be physical meetings or physical appearances. It could also be digital voices on opinions, and those things, when they also don't happen at the speed at which they should have happened, has definitely dented a certain degree of the excitement. And third most, there have been one or the other personal news which is pulling him down to a certain degree, even though it's not to a great degree diminishing his chances. But now that's something which people do take conscience of, and they're aware that, okay, should we wait and watch? From somebody who gets excited to ready to convert into wanting to vote for Vijay, that excitement level is still where people are, and they're cautious. That excitement has become a caution. Should I move? Should I not? And that's where we're waiting.
Vijay indeed, manages to kind of regain some of his momentum. Whose vote base will he cut into? Will it be DMK or will it be VCK or will it be from Seeman's party?
I think Vijay would take votes from almost everybody, and to what degree, from who is what finally matters. The DMK's alliance partners, for different reasons, will see a dent in their vote. Even though the Congress DMK alliance exists on paper, it may not exist on field, because in certain seats the Congress cadre might side with Vijay, and that could have an impact on local voting trends in favor of Vijay from the Congress side. The VCK might still see a sharper decline in its traditional vote compared to an NTK. An NTK's voter ideology vote might still stick with them. The neutral voters who had moved to NTK are the ones who might shift to Vijay to a certain degree. Compared to VCK and NTK, who might lose more votes to Vijay, we assume, based on a few numbers that we've got, it could still be the VCK that would pay a heavier price compared to NTK. the women voters of ADMK, the women voters who had chosen DMK in the 2021 election, might move to a considerable degree. So this is where it comes to. And that's where urban versus rural seat matters. In a rural seat, a local heavyweight from ADMK with a local heavyweight from DMK, making it a binary contest. What kind of a candidate is Vijay and TVK going to be able to put up in a fight such as that? That is where seat by seat, based on candidate, based on local leadership, grassroots penetration of election management would become crucial this time, is what we see.
Arun, interestingly, you spoke about this transferability problem and you took the specific example of Perambur. Can you just elaborate on it, using Perambur as a test case and what you expect happening on the field?
A North Chennai seat where the DMK has held fort for a considerable period of time. Vetrivel, as a local leader from the ADMK, scrapes through during Madam Jayalalitha's time period, is what we see, and he defects to AMMK post Jayalalitha's demise. With him goes a segment of ADMK to AMMK, and this leads to AIADMK's decimation in that particular seat. And ADMK has not seen a recoup or has not seen a regrowth ever since, which means now this seat has become kind of a DMK fort with large margins with which DMK wins this seat. Again, when you look at Perambur geographically, from Kodungiyur to Vyasarpadi, if anybody who knows Chennai, this is north to south, Kodungiyur to Vyasarpadi, low income, socio-economically marginalized society communities which live in large numbers in very close quarters. When that happens, there's also a kind of a mood mentality, which is, it's a drop that would spread very fast. So given that kind of a sense in Perambur, where the NDA is almost non-existent, if the TVK and the DMK take head on each other, they might still be 1 and 2 positions, is what we are seeing. And this is where we are talking about whose seat is it in which who's going to take on whom. And Perambur is one such an example. If you go towards Coimbatore and more, is Vijay having the same impact as in Chennai? Maybe not. That's what we're seeing on ground, right? So Perambur as a seat, with the absence of a very strong NDA in that particular seat, it's becoming a DMK SPA versus TVK contest. And if the rumors are to be believed, if Vijay himself contests, then it actually becomes a bipolar contest, very interesting contest. We've seen this in RK Nagar by-election. We've seen this in so many places where when there's a strong personality from the third front, one of the primary other party gets pushed to a distant third. That's the example which we have cited in terms of Perambur.
Okay. To sign off, Arun, you call 2026 a year of reckoning. Whose political future is most at stake in this election? I know that you'll be sticking your neck out on this, but please go ahead.
I think everybody's political future. If the current chief minister wants to leave a legacy behind and pass the buck to his son, the deputy chief minister, that is at stake this election. Mr. Edappadi Palaniswamy, as the single leadership under which AIADMK has regrouped and wants to establish and look at a future, that also is dependent on this election and its results. For Mr. Anbumani Ramadas, he definitely has greater control of the party. An electoral victory in the alliance is crucial that he establishes himself as PMK to continue without any further murmurs. Right? For the BJP again, for them to establish themselves as a greater force compared to Congress and to gain more for the future Lok Sabha elections, this is the time. For Vijay, of course, his first election, a failure in this election, and how he would continue post that failure if he fails. If he wins, how he continues is for a later day. If at all that dispensation fails, will they be able to sustain and survive until the next election? The only force that is not going to be disturbed by whatever the outcome is NTK. Because whether they're going to see an increase in vote share or are they going to stabilize, and if they decline, they are confident of regaining because of the kind of ensuing politics that Tamil Nadu would witness. So for the DMK, for the ADMK, for the BJP, PMK, for TVK, for all these systems, there is something in this election and they have to prove their electoral victory which is what they're all working for. For the rest, it's dependency politics. So how the tide is, where the wave is, they would still be able to swim through.
Arun, Ilangovan, many thanks for joining us. And as you have both pointed out, whether it is women voters, first-time voters, or new political entrants, this election could well test the limits of Tamil Nadu's traditional political framework. Thank you for watching Frontline Conversation.